Hello everyone, welcome to We Love Soaps TV. I'm here with actress, yay, and now author Kim Zimmer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, thank you. I know I'm still trying to get used to the Kim Zimmer actress/author thing, so it's weird. I still don't feel like I'm an author. I just wrote this little book.
It's very good, by the way.
Thank you.
So what was the process of coming to write the book? Does this start after Guiding Light was canceled, or have you been thinking about it for a while?
No, it started after notification on, April Fool's Day that we were being canceled. That's enough there to write a book about. And I was so angry, and then I lost my mom 7 days later, and it was just a series of things that menopause, and I had a lot of anger issues, and I was depressed, and so I just thought I'm gonna get this down on paper. So really, the whole idea started out as kind of just writing a journal. I thought that it would be something good for me to just purge myself by writing it down. So I did. I went out and bought a bunch of legal pads and just started writing everything that I was feeling, writing it all down, and it became very poetic. And then I thought, well, maybe I could make these a bunch of poems, and then it was all these different ideas, and so I let my legitimate agent read some of the pages that I had written, and she went, "Oh my God, we have a book agent here," and so I was like, "Really?" And she said, "Yeah." So I had a meeting with the book agent, Jim Stein at Innovative Artists, and we sat down. We had a wonderful 45-minute meeting, and at the end of it, he said, "We're going to write a book."
Was anybody kind of worried what you might say about them?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if they were worried what I might say about them, because I think the people that were worried what I might say about them really probably don't even care anyway, seriously. So, but most people were like, what chapter am I in? That's what, like, my friends, my family, co-workers were like, what are you going to say about me? What are you writing about me? They all wanted to be in it in some form, so that was good.
So now that it's out, the book is out this week. How do you feel with it out there on the shelves?
Well, it's been interesting because I have been doing a massive overload of interviews, and it's very interesting what different people pick up on that they want to discuss. So that's what I love about doing this, is that different things appeal to different interviewers, and that's the overall appeal of the book too. I feel like I've sent my child off to kindergarten, and they're out there now trying to figure out the world. My little book is out there somewhere trying to figure out the world. And I'm done. It's done. It's done. And now I have people calling and going, you spelled my name wrong. Oh my God, my son Max, my middle son, my middle child, the one that has the middle child syndrome, texted me the other day, and all the text said was, Chapter 6, Paragraph 3, my son Max was born on March 17th, 1986. My son Max was born on March 19th, 1986. I got it stuck in my head because his due date was March 17th, the Ides of March. Right. And as I was writing it, it just came out March 17th. He was giving me all kinds of grief, and I felt so bad. And he finally said, I'm just messing with you.
And everything about Rachel and Jake was exactly perfect in the book.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Jake hasn't read it yet. I'm sure I've said something that's going to tick him off too. So,
you've always been very upfront and honest in your interviews. So, I thought the book was kind of what I was expecting in terms of the voice, but the stories were things that I didn't necessarily know.
Right.
Is there anything that you got to the end, or maybe when you were done with the final version and said, "Oh, I totally forgot to mention this"?
Oh, there were tons of things. In fact, my husband AC read the first 3 chapters, and he had to stop reading it because he was like, "You didn't go into I said, "I can't." The book would have been 95,000 pages long if I had been totally specific about stories. And he said, "But there was that great story that you used to tell about blah blah blah." And I was like, "But I don't know if a reader's going to be in. You're interested because you're my husband, So there was a lot of that. There was a lot. That was the hardest part of the book, was editing it, was trying to figure out what to keep and what to get rid of, and so I'm sure there are tons of things that I've left out.
I'm always fascinated by people's journeys from where they're from to New York City. So you get to New York City, you work on the doctors. with Alec Baldwin. You talked
Right.
about that in the book. This is the 30th year anniversary of MTV this week, and I posted soap recaps from this week in 1981.
Cool.
And the recap was about Nola and Billy.
Oh, really? What did it say?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Nola and Billy did
Because
something.
because that's a you know, I would love to try to go back and find some old doctors. Vintage, I guess it would be vintage now, Nola and Billy stuff. Because I know that we had a lot to do together, but I don't really remember what it was.
Well, there was talk that a company bought the rights to sell the Doctors, and they were trying to get it on Hallmark for a while, and I was like, really?
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing
But then it never,
too.
the Doctors, I mean, the Hallmark changed management, and I don't know where that stands now.
No, maybe it was on your site that I saw that too, that they were talking about moving it or something, yeah.
How do you feel about your work now? Like, would you be happy to revisit all that? I mean, probably at the time when you shot it, you didn't think it would come back around. Like, they weren't really doing DVDs at the time, or there was no YouTube.
People will send me messages and they'll go, "Oh my God, I just found this YouTube video of you and Robert doing blah blah blah." And then when you go and you click on it, you go, then all YouTube, all these other scenes pop up, and it's like, I could sit there for hours just watching myself, but you forget because fans don't forget. Fans can remind you of stories that you told for years, but we as actors, you have to erase. You have to keep erasing because there's just too much to learn and too much to remember. So
now, as a lifelong soap fan, my all-time favorite scene is the slut of Springfield, and for years when I've shown people that clip, and we actually kicked off an event a few months ago where we meet down at Pieces Bar once a month and have like 4 hours of happy hour and soaps.
Yeah.
So Riva has been a key point
cool.
of that. But I always say, that scene won Kim Zimmer her first Emmy. And then I read the book and realize that it didn't.
It wasn't. That scene wasn't even on my Emmy reel. Yeah, it's true. I mean, everybody just assumed that. And also, a lot of people always think that dress was red. The dress was gold. It was a gold halter top. But because Riva always put on, red when she was going to get in trouble, whether it be red lipstick or a red dress, people just assumed that dress in the fountain was a red dress, but it was a gold dress. And yeah, I mean, I love that the character is so defined by that scene. But that was Act 6D in that episode. In that particular episode, everything else were big party scenes. So I really couldn't use it because it would have been that one scene, and who knows, maybe I could have, but I didn't really even think of using it.
Yeah, the last month we did the event. It was from 4 to 8 in the afternoon, happy hour, cheap drinks, and we played the entire Riva Scarlet Years.
Oh, cool! And why didn't you invite me?
I know. That would have been great for you to just walk in.
Yeah.
But it played so well, and a lot of those people had never seen that.
Right.
80s setting, the clothes.
Well, who are the people that are there?
Well, a mixture of soap fans and then people who are just there for happy hour.
Oh, cool.
From Riva's first scene to driving off the bridge. And then you're in 1995 narrating it.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Which is kind of, so there's like 2 different time periods represented.
Yeah. I love that video because of the hairstyles. All the different hairstyles. And the clothes, from the big shoulder pads to...
Well, nothing can top your real life hairstyle when you actually won that Emmy.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
It's very Patti LaBelle.
Yeah, I know. I was a Patti LaBelle wannabe. No, and when they called my name, all I could think, and I know that all my mother was thinking was, oh my God, what have you done to your hair? Because I didn't think I was going to win. I was a dark horse that year. I mean, it was my first year nominated. I never thought that would happen. So when they asked if I could do those things in my hair for publicity, I was like, sure, we'll get some press on them.
Now, you talked about the Emmys in the book, and I think the process has changed almost yearly.
Yeah,
and I don't
they're
know
still trying to figure it out.
I don't know if there is a good way to figure that out, but for me, I don't know if you watched this year's show.
I did.
The show was we love soaps, we love everything.
Right.
And if we don't, we usually just don't say anything. But
right.
we had to speak out about the telecast this year because I thought it was really bad.
It was awful. Susan Lucci, who's such a lady and really she takes things so, that whole debacle with her daughter and with Shamar, like what? And you could tell that she was just standing there, oh my God, what is happening? What is going on? You know, it was just dreadful. And the fact that they did they not show any clips? You didn't even see the people in the audience. I never saw anyone.
Well, I was talking to a friend after we had a debate. I said, would be much more honored to go to the Marriott Marquis and have a big luncheon.
Absolutely.
He said, oh, well, they get like 10 seconds in prime time. And I'm like, well, that doesn't mean anything.
No, no. And most of those nominees didn't even have 10 seconds because they didn't win. The only time you got to be seen was if you were presenter or if you won. You know, or maybe you were the third person behind the person that accepted the award. But no, it was dreadful. No, I know. I watched like this. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Indie Soap Awards, which you were nominated for.
Right.
A very much like industry celebration of what's happening.
Yes, yeah. That's great. And you know, like you said, I would love to go back to. I've said it many times, to just having luncheons where we all sat around and we ate, and you know, there was champagne or wine on the table, and everybody. It was just the industry people with maybe a couple of fans that won, you know, tickets on raffles or auctions or something, or charity events, whatever. Those were the days. Those were great. Those were lots of fun.
It started out. I can't remember where the first year was. The second year was on a boat. Like a cruise around the Hudson.
Yeah, no, see, that was before my time.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it just sort of got off track, and I don't know if it's going to be on TV again or not. But anyway, you talk in the book about drinking. It opens up with a story about drinking, which I never really, I guess you're so forthcoming in your interviews, and plus we see you on our TV every day, we think, oh, we know everything about her.
Right.
But that's something I had really no clue about.
Come on, you've been to parties with me before.
No, I mean, the great thing about the book is, you know, you're very honest about situations and people, but you also take full blame for anything that, you know, and I really admire you looking at it from both those sides.
Yeah, that was you know, and the byline that a lot of the interviewers have gotten is she discusses her battle with sobriety, which I'm always like, oh my God, that's such a company line, because that's not what it was at all. I didn't have a battle with sobriety. I would have a glass of wine or two at lunch to keep myself from chewing somebody's head off, you know, because I was so angry the last 2 years the show was on the air, because I couldn't not watch. You know, I was a fan of the show. So, you know, everybody would, because I try to go around and get people to back me up saying, can you believe what's happening? You know, what are they doing? And people would, their answer was, don't watch. I was like, you got to tell the fans not to watch. You know, I mean, it was so painful for me. So I would go and I'm not a pill popper. I couldn't even remember to take the birth control pill, which is why I have 3 kids. But, no, I'm kidding. But so wine was my drug of choice, and I would go and just, you know, not every day, and I wasn't going back to the set, you know, a slobbering drunk. I was.
Well, some characters are always drinking anyway.
Well, yeah. So why not make it real, right?
I mean, we would have thought we were just acting.
And believe me, I wasn't the only one that was having a drink or two at lunch either. I'm the only one that discussed it. But it was something that I didn't like that I was doing, and I gained weight. I was going through menopause too, but you know, drinking 2 glasses of wine every day is going to put pounds on you. I mean, it was a downward spiral, and I bottomed, you know, in AA, because I had to go to AA meetings after I got my DUI, and you learn that, and I learned immediately that I was not an alcoholic going to these AA meetings, but you learn that, I mean, from people who get up and speak, that I heard so many stories of what people's bottom was, because in order to, you know, I rise and flame, cried the phoenix, in order to start the upward battle again, you have to hit bottom. And so I think of that as my bottom. Something had to happen. It was fate that happened to me, really, because it put such a great perspective on what I was spending way too much time worrying about and being angry about. And writing the book was great therapy for me too. So
was that the hardest thing to write about?
It was the hardest thing to not write about, because it like I said, that was being able to write about it and put it down on paper was therapy for me.